Okay, so tonight I mainly wanted to talk about the Impossible Burger from Burger King and the Beyond Meat Burger from Carl's Jr. So the fake meat trend is going crazy lately. Everybody's getting in on it. There's just an explosion of products from these fast food companies. Burger King was the first one to really do it with the Impossible Whopper, and I got one of those here. And the deal with the Whopper is that it's the same Whopper that we all know and love, but it's got the fake patty, the fake meat patty. And Impossible Foods, Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat are both companies that are trying to recreate the meat eating experience sort of from scratch. What they're doing is they're building a plant-based burger patty that is designed to, as closely as possible, mimic the taste and texture of meat. And whether they succeed is a different story. You know, like, I think that I have a lot to say about the topic in general, but whether they deliver on the promise that they make is almost secondary to the hype that's been generated around the whole thing. We've got, these aren't the only two companies that are in this business right now. There are a bunch of other ones. Dr. Praeger's, which is known as, they produce a lot of sort of quasi-health food. You can find in our freezer right now, I think we have some sort of Dr. Praeger's, what are they? Dr. Praeger's sweet potato nuggets or something like that. And they, there's a bunch of other companies doing the same thing. But Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat are the two biggest ones. The Impossible Burger came out not too long ago. It's a Silicon Valley startup, basically, that was started by this guy from Stanford. And I think that the origins behind a lot of these companies are sort of mythologized in a way where they come up with a product and then they retroactively, come up with this, sort of highfalutin reason for why they actually did it. And the guy from Stanford who started Impossible Foods said that he wanted to do it to reduce meat consumption. And because everyone knows that eating meat is sort of a pretty unsustainable thing if we wanted to scale it up across the entire human race. But I think tonight I want to focus mainly on the things that interest me about the fake meat, which is how it tastes, the meaning behind it, not just, morally and not ecologically, but also, technologically and philosophically. I think all of those concerns are important, but for me, I'm not a vegetarian, and I'm going to be approaching this discussion from a non-vegetarian, maybe a hopeful vegetarian perspective. I would like to someday possibly be able to not eat meat at all if these kinds of products really get to where we all hope they do. And on the other side, we've got Carl's Jr. here, and Carl's Jr. is the West Coast equivalent of Hardee's. Hardee's, they use the same star logo, the same star mascot, and on the East Coast they tend to be called Hardee's. On the West Coast they tend to be called Carl's Jr. I'm actually not totally sure if Hardee's has an equivalent burger. Hardee's, I'll just search right now. Hardee's Beyond Meat. Do they have it? I think that they're testing it. So that's important. Here on the West Coast, it seems very easy to get this burger. the Impossible Whopper actually launches later this week nationwide across the United States, which is pretty cool, right? Like, I wanted to get out in front of this and do a review video before it launched nationwide because they were testing it here in San Francisco and some other sort of like big vegetarian cities. I think the operative thing here is I'm just going to go ahead and start eating and talk about it. I'm really kind of interested to see the difference between both of these because the ingredients, as far as the toppings for both of these burgers, seem to be almost identical. And this is the Impossible Burger, or the Impossible Whopper from Burger King. So, as a disclaimer, I have had the Impossible Whopper from Burger King 3 times before this. I kind of instantly went over and got it as soon as I heard that it was being tested in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm a huge fan of fake meat. I'm a huge fan of virtual foods. You know, whenever people try to make a new food that closely emulates another one. I'm going to take a bite of the Carl's Jr. Beyond Meat patty right now. Yeah, it seems like the ingredients, the list of toppings on the Whopper is ketchup and mayo, white onion. We've got some lettuce and tomato. There's no cheese on the Whopper that I got. I wanted to get the default Whopper. The Whopper with cheese is a separate order. Whenever you get the Whopper from Burger King, by default, it does not have cheese. The famous Star, which is the equivalent burger from Carl's Jr., does have cheese by default, so I got the cheese on it, which means that it's not vegan. I think the buns are actually also not vegan, so that's another concern if you actually care about those sorts of things. But I'm going to try this right now. That's pretty good. So, my first impressions are the Carl's Jr. Beyond Meat patty has a much stronger sort of like charry, flamey taste. And both of these restaurants, another really interesting reason to compare them directly is that both of them advertise very heavily that they're flame broiled, or in the case of Carl's Jr., they say char-broiled. And what that means is they have a flame-started sort of, cooker that they use. And it imparts a kind of like a smoky, grilled taste to the meat. I think Burger King actually adds liquid smoke in most of their burgers and stuff. And it seems like there's a treatment on the Carl's Jr. char-broiled burgers here, because they both have that flame grilled taste, but the Carl's Jr. version seems to be much more intense, and I really like that. I think it just from the plantiness, and I'll get to that in a second. As far as the realism goes, I would have to give it to the Impossible Burger, to the Impossible Whopper here. It just sort of tastes a little bit more like meat, and maybe not so much like meat, but it tastes more like something that I haven't quite had before, or haven't quite had as much before. The Beyond Meat burger already tastes very similar to, your typical veggie burgers that you would get from, Morningstar or a company like that. So I think that right now my impressions are the Carl's Jr. burger, while it has a stronger planty taste, and it reminds me more of traditional veggie burgers. I think the char flavor sort of helps distract from exactly what you're eating. I think one of the biggest parts about eating, a flame grilled burger like this is you got to taste that, that burntness. And on the Impossible Burger from Burger King, it's just not quite as loud, which is surprising. The patty on the Carl's Jr. version, I'm not sure if you can see this here, but it is quite thick. And it's the chroma key is getting the pickle there. It's matrixing it out. So it's red. I think that's from the ketchup and also from the beet juice that the Beyond Meat people use to give the fake meat the red color. So I will also show you the patty on the Impossible Burger version, and you can see that it's dramatically thinner. Maybe not dramatically, but it's noticeably thinner. I like them both. I do think the addition of cheese on the Carl's Jr. version is it also helps to distract from the plantiness, or the it kind of makes you think you're eating a traditional burger. And of course, that's not really a solution for the vegans and maybe not even some vegetarians in the crowd, but I think it does help the simulation. You know what I mean? One thing I was interested to try here was a variation on these burgers, which used the Impossible Patty, but with ingredients that were not your typical hamburger. One thing I've noticed about these burgers that directly replace their burger patty with the Impossible Patty or the Beyond Meat patty, say the Impossible Whopper, what they do is they just swap out the patty, and all the other ingredients are the same. So what you're left with is something that in your mind you can directly compare with the real thing, which for marketing purposes, to determine, to get people to say, oh yeah, it tastes a lot, pretty close, or for, branding reasons, it makes sense. But I think ideally what we would have is we would have a sandwich which has some other ingredients on there that would sort of confuse you into thinking that, and to not really directly comparing it with the Whopper or something like that in your mind. So I also got a Angry Whopper, the Angry Whopper with the Impossible Patty. And here we go. The Angry Whopper is the Burger King's, spicy version of their Whopper. And I really like this. I really like the Angry Whopper version because it's really spicy, and it's got the pickled jalapenos. It's got bacon, which again sort of ruins the veganism of the whole thing. But I'll tell you what, putting bacon on a veggie burger again goes a long way to sort of, to making it convincing in your mind. I'm going to go ahead and try this one. So I like it. I think that's the way to go, honestly. You really want to, I think, even though both of these products are trying very hard to seem like they're not, to seem like they're real beef, they're clearly not. And what you really want to do is put some other stuff on it to make it way more interesting, I think. The jalapenos on here, it's kind of makes me think that yeah, it really distracts from the whole thing. It really distracts from the idea that you're not eating the meat. So out of all of these, I think my favorite so far is the Angry Whopper with the Impossible Patty. But, you know, that's not the thing that they're going to directly sort of like nudge you into getting. And you might have to order it custom, obviously, and I would also I would take extra care to make sure that they make it the way that you say to make it, because the first time I ordered it, they just put the Angry Whopper up on the screen, and that was it. You know, I had to remind them, yeah, I want that with the Impossible Patty, and it seems like people probably aren't ordering it like that quite so much, so you might want to go ahead and do that. The whole fake meat industry seems to be blowing up, like I was talking about earlier, and these two companies, Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat, are doing a lot to make this trend happen. My original plan for this video was to review the Little Caesars Impossible Sausage Pizza, and unfortunately, the Little Caesars in my area don't carry that. If you want to check out your local Little Caesars locations, they might have the Impossible Sausage Pizza, and you could, you know, give it a try. But I think that, you know, not having tried the Carl's Jr. Beyond Meat Burger, it was a great opportunity to try that. And I think there's a lot of hype here, and I'm not quite sure if the products that they're making are that much better than the plant-based, you know, burger patties that we've had for quite a long time now. The Impossible Foods main innovation that they claim is, you know, the reason why it's so much better than the existing meat patties is that, or the existing, you know, fake meat patties, is this ingredient they call heme. And heme is like a molecule that contains an iron atom such that, you know, when you taste it, you can taste the iron in it, like you would taste blood. And what they do is they extract this molecule, which is leg hemoglobin. They extract it from the roots of soy plants. And it's this, you know, once they have enough of it in this container that they have, it appears very red, like beet juice or something like that. And they add this to their proprietary blend of wheat gluten, I think, is the main driver behind the texture of the Impossible Foods burger. And they also use coconut oil to simulate the fat. And well, they don't simulate the fat. That is fat, but they use it to simulate the beef fat. The heme that they have, the the bloody sort of additive that they put in there, I'm not so sure that it really matters all that much to exactly replicating the taste of this stuff. When you make a burger, like you make a burger at home. I was just talking on my last stream about Shake Shack. I really love Shake Shack. I think it's my favorite burger of all time. And by the time a Shake Shack burger is fully cooked, the cooking process of a burger like that is they smash it down onto the grill, and then it's completely cooked, well done. There's no bloody part left in the middle. And the burger is still very good. In fact, I think it's the best one. So when you watch the videos or you read the advertisements from Impossible Foods, they always mention that, oh yeah, in the center of this burger, it's still pink, or it's still bleeding like a real burger. And I gotta say, I don't really think that that's all that important. So I think what they're doing here is they're kind of optimizing for something which, might be important to, certain customers, and it's obviously great for branding because they're making a lot of money. But I don't actually think it's that important for the taste. Like I said here, the Beyond Meat patty from Carl's Jr. Was kind of, I thought it was better, to be honest, in this case. So the idea that, the idea that this heme ingredient is the important thing, I'm a little skeptical. The beet juice that is being used in the Carl's Jr. version, it's red, and it changes color when you cook it. And I think that it might actually not matter that much, to be honest. I think that the heme that they're extracting from these soy plants and putting in here, I don't know if it's really worth the effort, but it does offer a pretty good brand differentiator for them. The Carl's Jr. version, I'm going to keep eating here. Yeah, so much smokier. People say that, like, the scientists nowadays think that people have a sort of inbuilt sensor for the smoky taste. And it would make sense. Like, everyone knows that we have the salty, bitter, sweet, sour receptors on our taste buds, and anyone who's paid attention to food for the past 15 years knows about the brand new umami receptors, which allow you to perceive the savoriness of the glutamates that exist in food. So people say that, we have other sorts of sensors in our mouths that respond directly to fats and smokiness. I believe it. It makes sense on an evolutionary sort of, from an evolutionary perspective, that humans would eventually evolve some sort of preference for cooked food, because cooked food is more, it's easier to digest. The nutrition is better. So it makes sense for there to have been some sort of evolutionary adaptation that would cause people to prefer cooked food. I gotta also mention again that my favorite on this case, on this comparison, was the Angry Whopper version of the Impossible Burger. And at Carl's Jr., they explicitly say, Burger King does not say, they do not explicitly call this out, but Carl's Jr. explicitly calls out that you can get the Beyond Meat patty with any of their burgers, including the Western burger, which everyone loves from Carl's Jr. It's got the onion rings and barbecue sauce and bacon on it. Burger King actually also right now has something similar. They have the Rodeo Barbecue Whopper, the Rodeo King, I think is what they're calling it right now. They're doing their new King line of burgers, and I think the next time I go back to Burger King, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the Big King, which is a sort of Big Mac simulation, and I'm going to get that with the Impossible Patty. I kind of wanted to do that tonight, but I think the Angry Whopper is a lot more flavorful and is I think people here in the chat are more likely to go out and buy that one. So what's the deal with these companies? They're making tons of money on this concept, this fake meat concept, and I listened to a lot of what the guys at the companies had to say about their products, and there is a lot of this sort of hyperbolic kind of talk about how they are going to try to save the planet from, the ecological disaster that is modern meat production. I think that what these guys are really doing is they're trying to make a lot of money, and they're trying to form a new product niche that they can appeal to the vegans and the vegetarians, or the flexitarian category that they're trying to promote nowadays. And I think it's very important to be skeptical of the intentions and also the products themselves that these companies make. The Impossible Burger is a Silicon Valley funded startup, which means that the people who invested in it are trying their hardest to market it to everyone as much as they can without really without any concern for the actual reality of what's going on. Are these things going to save the planet, or are they just going to, end up another sort of like just something else on the menu? I wonder how far these products could really go to convince people to stop eating meat. The similarity, I have to be honest, is not really there. Anyone who thinks that this tastes like meat, they have to admit at some point that it's not true. I love this stuff. I think my favorite dish in San Francisco is a fake meat dish by this Chinese restaurant called Big Lantern, and they specialize in the artificial meats. My favorite thing to eat in the whole city is this fake meat thing. But I'll tell you what, it does not taste like chicken. It's the Big Lantern tea-flavored meatless chicken. And you eat it, and you're like, oh, that's kind of tastes like a chicken nugget, sort of, if you don't think about the fact that that it doesn't taste like meat at all. It's difficult to articulate my feelings on this because they're complex, and I think I have a sort of a reluctance to go along with the marketing plans of anything that's venture capital funded. But if anything good is going to happen, it's going to have to probably happen through corporations. I think the corporations are the only sorts of structures, the only sorts of organizations that are actually going to be able to do anything on this planet in the next 100 years, because the governments clearly are not doing that, and the corporations, at least they're doing this kind of thing. I think these kinds of products are interesting for reasons beyond what the professed, missions of these companies are. And the first one is the fact that we're creating new things. I went into this on a previous video a little bit, but the Impossible Burger can be good for reasons other than the fact that it tastes like a real burger. You can make something good even if you don't have to directly compare it to something else. And often, I think, there's a Bruce Sterling quote, I think, which is, there's something beautiful in a good translation that you can't quite capture in the original. And I think that's true because what you're tasting when you're tasting an Impossible Burger or a Beyond Meat burger is something that's not meat, and it's just a completely new ingredient that we can all integrate into our daily lives, and it shows the power of human ingenuity. I think the coolest part about people is that we can look at things in the world, we can take a look at nature, and we can take it apart. And then we can put it back together in new and interesting ways. Technology from the beginning, from the beginning of human history, the first thing that really mattered was fire, which we were talking about a few minutes ago. And how did people get the idea to make fire? Well, fire happens in nature, and you see lightning striking a tree or something, and it bursts into flames, and you're going to experiment with that when you're a caveman. So the first avenue for us to make something is by looking at what already exists and trying to copy it. But when you copy something, you're not making the original thing. You're making something new that's a lot like it, but different. I think that's where the beauty of this sort of thing comes in. One other reason why I like products like this is that you can't make them at home. It's impossible to make the Impossible Burger at your house. You can't do it. Even if you bought all the ingredients, which are like, wheat gluten or, this soy root, and you're going to extract the heme from it somehow. What they're doing is they're taking an insane amount of these ingredients. They're putting them through these industrial processors. They're sort of smashing them up, and they're separating the parts. They're distilling these molecules. They're just doing things that you can't do with a home kitchen. There's no way I could ever make a McNugget at home. And I'm sure everyone who's paying attention to this is probably also interested in the Bon Appetit Gourmet Makes videos with Claire. Everybody's a big fan, where she tries to make the Doritos or Twix bars or Oreos or something in a kitchen. And she's doing it in an industrial kitchen, basically, and with a ton of supplies that normal people don't have in their homes. And even they can't come necessarily that close to making an exact copy of these things that are made in industrial kitchens. The reason that we go to McDonald's and the reason that we go to Burger King or any of these restaurants is because they're making something that we just can't do in our homes. I can wake up and I can cook some eggs for breakfast, but I can't make a McGriddles. I can't really make a sausage McMuffin. I could if I could sort of approximate it. I could go to the store and I could buy some sausage and I could buy, an English muffin, but it's not going to be the McDonald's formulation, which is created in a lab to taste exactly this way when paired with these other ingredients. Like I said, the McNugget is an extreme case, not going to happen. It's just the ability for people to do this only exists because of science and technology. The Beyond Meat burger, would it have been possible 10 years ago? Probably. 20 years ago? I would say it's likely 30, the further back you go in the decades, the less likely it is that creating something like this would have been possible. And I think the essence of these products, and the reason I like them so much, is because they're symbols of the future. As time marches on, we're creating new foods for people to eat, based completely on our knowledge of how nature works, based completely on, chemistry and mathematics and our ability to engineer these giant machines that pulverize these soy plants or these wheat kernels. It's quite amazing if you think about it. I went into some detail before about the sort of supply chains that make this possible. And this applies here as well. We've got the food service companies that are willing to shuttle around all of these products. The Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat companies, their labs, I watched some videos of their labs on YouTube. They look very similar. They look like science labs. That kind of thing we couldn't have made it 100 years ago, and that's what I think is so cool about it. I've also got on stream tonight a LaCroix La Cola, which is another simulated virtual food. It's a cola that's not brown, doesn't have any sugar in it, and doesn't have any caffeine in it. So it's essentially a cola flavored sparkling water, and I really like this one again for the fact that it's a simulation of the original thing. But it's, again, because of all of those things that it doesn't have. It doesn't have the caffeine, and it doesn't have the artificial sweeteners. The flavors that you can detect here are much different. I think this one has a sort of a spicy or chocolatey finish. I'm a big fan of it. If you find it in your grocery store, check it out. You might not like it on the first sip, but if you drink 100 more cans, you'll probably love it. Also from Carl's Jr., I think I also had to shout out this item, which is the fried zucchini, which is another vegetarian favorite. And I think that pairing the Beyond Meat burger with the fried zucchini is a great sort of nod to the only item that vegetarians used to talk about from Carl's Jr. Just deep fried zucchini. They give you some ranch. It's very good. I'm going to keep eating. Maybe keep talking. Yeah, I'm even noticing myself unconsciously gravitating toward the Carl's Jr. version. It's pretty good. I'm actually not. I haven't been a huge fan of Carl's Jr. that much in the past because I think that they sort of haven't convinced me that there's any reason to go there instead of another fast food restaurant. But after tonight, I might be heading to Carl's Jr. more often because I really like this Beyond Meat burger. And I really love the fact that they're going to expect people to order their typical burgers with the Beyond Meat patties. So it'll be a lot easier than it was at Burger King to get the Angry Whopper with the Impossible Patty. What do I think about Whataburger? I've not been to Whataburger. I should go. Do they have anything like this yet? I hope they do. And if they don't, I think a lot of these places will soon. It would be cool if, you know, if they all did. It would be nice, I think, if some of these places did their own veggie burgers that were not co-branded with the Impossible Burger or Beyond Meat. I don't know. I think that one problem that these companies are going to have over the next few years with this product is that right now they're sort of piggybacking on the brand success of both of these companies, the Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. And I don't know how long that could really last when each one of these companies is offering essentially the exact same product as another one. It doesn't really bode well for people not thinking of these restaurants as interchangeable, right? Like, it's not good for Burger King or some other company who also serves the Impossible Foods burger it's not good for people to think, oh, like, I want to go somewhere where I can get an Impossible Burger. I'll either go to Burger King or I'll go to White Castle or I'll go to over here. It's not a good idea for them to do that because then their restaurants are fungible with respect to the others, just based on the fact that they have the same product as the others. And I think that if they sort of made the effort to formulate their own patties, which I really hope McDonald's is doing. McDonald's, they have yet to make they've yet to make any sort of like deliberate strategy about this sort of thing public yet. But I have heard some people talking online. I've seen some quotes from McDonald's people saying that it's something that they're looking into and it's something that they're going to do in the future. I really hope that when the time comes, they try really hard to formulate their own burger. So I think that McDonald's really does need some vegetarian-friendly items. Just a few years ago, I think they actually did reformulate their fries to not use beef tallow anymore because they used to fry their fries with beef fat, and now they don't do that anymore. Although they do fry the fries in the same fryer as some other items, which may not be vegan. So I think it's kind of complicated, but there's no real vegan or vegetarian protein option at McDonald's besides the eggs. And of course, eggs are not suitable for vegans. What if you are looking for a good vegetarian option from McDonald's? I would suggest the McGriddles with the egg. You can ask for the cracked egg instead of the folded egg. The folded egg is the scrambled version, which comes in a liquid form, and the cracked egg is they take a real egg and they crack it on the grill for you. And they have both of those options on any sandwich you can get at McDonald's. But the McGriddles with cheese and the cracked egg, I think, is a really great vegetarian option at McDonald's. But again, I really hope they do something like this. I really want these places also to start branching out into like fake chicken or fake pork. One of the best items that I was talking about earlier from this Chinese restaurant here in San Francisco, Big Lantern, is they have a fake chicken dish, but they also have a fake barbecue pork bun, which is really good. And it seems like they could make something like the McRib at McDonald's with something that's not pork, and I'm not sure if anyone would be able to tell. The fake chicken nugget, the soy chicken nugget, seems like the next big step for this kind of thing. And I've been eating fake chicken nuggets for a long time. The Morningstar Farms version is I think it's the best one so far. I know there's a new one. What's it called? Nugs? I believe it's called Nugs. Yeah. This Nugs product is a chicken nugget simulation, texturized pea protein technology. And I hope something like this is on the way for the the equivalent of the Beyond Meat or the Impossible Foods patty. Let's just scroll down and read some a little bit about the Impossible Burger. They debuted it here around here in the San Francisco Bay Area just a few years ago, and I tried it. When was the first time I tried it? I know Dave and Buster's has it actually, and I spent a lot of time at Dave and Buster's, or at least I used to, playing DDR, Dance Dance Revolution, and the all the sort of mid-tier burger restaurants like Red Robin and Dave and Buster's, I believe they're also going in on this trend. Like I said, the Little Caesars is having a test right now doing the Impossible Sausage. So go check that out if you're in Florida, New Mexico, or Washington. I don't know if anyone is watching is actually in that area, but it's probably worth doing. Yeah, fake McRib, fake chicken nuggets. Really, just give me a fake anything. I think it would be interesting to see what happens with this kind of stuff. I want. I think my number one most wanted product would have to be the chicken nugget. I hope somebody is watching. I hope somebody's yeah. Hope somebody from McDonald's eventually sees my stream and they are looking for product advice. Or you can hire me to give you some consulting. I would love to do that. Any questions about the burgers so far? Let me know if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. The the texture of the patties is the appearance is quite, you know, it looks like a burger, sort of. This is the Beyond Meat patty, and it kind of looks like a burger, but you can tell that just texturally that something is not quite there. I'm going to keep eating the Impossible version. And I pointed out earlier that the Beyond Meat patty from Carl's Jr. was thicker than the Impossible Foods Whopper. Are either both of these available nationwide or only at specific locations? So the Impossible Whopper from Burger King is launching nationwide this week. I believe it's August 8th is the rollout. So anyone anywhere is going to be able to try it. I'm I'm excited to see what happens with the rollout. It'll be pretty good. As far as Carl's Jr., I'm actually not sure. Let's check it out. Carl's Jr. Beyond Meat Burger. Looks like it must be at all of them. Well, it looks like Hardee's is going to get on the game soon. So that's cool. Yeah, it's exciting. The Yeah, I'm happy with the way these burgers turned out, especially the Angry Whopper from Burger King with subbed out the Impossible Patty with the beef patty. The Carl's Jr. famous star with cheese Beyond Meat version, I think is out. If we're comparing the Whopper and the Carl's Jr. Famous star directly, I would say that I like the Carl's Jr. version better, just because it has a smokier flavor and the the patty is thicker, so I get more of it in one bite. I think both of these burgers are a little too big, to be honest. It would be nice if there was a Whopper Junior version, or just like just like a smaller version. I think that it would also be less expensive. The Both of these burgers, at least in the San Francisco Bay Area, where everything is expensive, they were both $8 each, so $7.59 both of them, and plus tax. Kind of a lot, really, if you think about a fast food burger. That's not how much the Whopper costs. Are they pretty filling? They are pretty filling. These things are huge. The last Impossible patty that I ate was just the last Impossible burger that I ate from Burger King. It was the only thing I needed to eat all night. I think if they want to put food in your stomach, if you want to put food in your stomach, it's going to work. Just doing a little bit more reading about these things. One of the nice things about the Beyond Meat version is that in the you can buy it in the store, and they have a bunch of different versions of the product already. Right now, if you go to the store like Whole Foods or something, you can get the Impossible burgers, but they only really have only really have it in burger patty form. But Beyond Meat, at the time, they already have a crumbled version, which is like ground beef crumbles, which you can buy in the freezer section. They have sausages. They have fake sausages, which are pretty good. Even the fake sausage, if you uncase it, it's really good as a ground meat substitute. I think it's pretty good. I think I have to try and go against my own contrarianism on this one. I've been so excited for this trend to blow up over the past few years. I was like, to all my friends, I'm like, oh, when are the fast food companies going to get into the fake meat? And now that they have, I find myself saying things like, oh, I'm skeptical that they have good intentions, or it's not quite as good as I want it to be. But it really is a great development just all around, because it's new, because it's good for the planet. It's debatable whether it's actually good for you. I think that's a completely separate question that I am not really willing to even investigate at the moment. I think that if you're eating fast food, you probably are aware already that the food that you're getting from these places is not exactly the healthiest, and it's not exactly it's just not. You're not eating raw food. You're not eating whole foods. You're eating something that's very deliberately processed, and processed on a large scale. And I like to skirt around the issue of whether it's good for me or not, because I'm really attached to the technological implications and the aesthetic implications of these sorts of things. But I can't imagine that grinding up a ton of plants, mostly seeds, in the case of wheat, seeds produce a lot of toxins to ward off the being eaten by insects, and those toxins are actually present in minute quantities in the seed, and then when you grind up a zillion of them, it's going to kind of build up. I think that there's just a lot of questions around processed food, whether it's good for you or not. I don't really care, to be honest. I'm only going to be here for 30, 40, 50 more years, and I think I can make it to 80 some years old eating Taco Bell and BK. So I'm not going to worry too hard about it. You got to live your aesthetic. You can't just say, oh, well, I like this thing, but I'm just going to totally ignore it. You're not liking it if you're not paying attention to it. Do you want these sorts of things to exist? I want fake meat to exist, so I have to eat it. I can't just say, oh, like I want. Yeah, you have to do the things that you like, or else what are you doing? So something else that I got tonight from Carl's Jr. is this product, the Froot Loops mini donuts. And this is a dessert from Carl's Jr. And that look like this, and they're Froot Loops flavored. It's very interesting. I really love the brand synergy that's going on here. And I don't think I've tried these, or at least I haven't tried them in the past couple of years. Okay. Tastes like Froot Loops. It's pretty good. And I think they're all the same flavor, regardless of what color they are. Yeah, same flavor. But yeah, got to give another shout out to the Carl's Jr. Froot Loops mini donuts. Just really interesting product. Reminds me of the Froot Loops shakes that existed at Burger King not too long ago. Okay, so all in all, gotta say, gonna give the ranking here. Carl's Jr.'s famous star, Beyond Meat patty with cheese, I think wins over the Burger King Impossible Whopper, the Impossible Foods patty. And I think that if I added cheese to the Impossible Whopper, probably would have brought it more in line. But that's not the default, and I wanted to try them on their default sort of playing fields. In summary, great development for the planet, for humanity, and for people who like trying new things. Go out and try the Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods patty from every single place that you can. I had one from White Castle. My favorite so far has been the Impossible Slider from White Castle. It was just so fresh and so. It just tasted exactly like I imagined the ultimate, like, fake meat White Castle hamburger would taste. It's just really good. I think some other people who are doing this, they're putting a spin on it. Like White Castle's spin, they add a smoked cheddar. I really hope that, again, I really hope that Burger King goes down the same road and promotes this with some more interesting ingredients than the default Whopper ingredients. Again, another shout out to the LaCroix company making the simulated cola. It's a virtual cola. Really like it. Tastes a lot like cola, but it's not. It's delicious. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out tonight and listening to me talk about these foods. I really appreciate the the interest in the videos. I really like talking about this stuff. Tonight was a little bit rocky trying to get the green screen working, and I got a new webcam, so it took a bit of work. But I think it was ultimately successful. I'll be back pretty soon with another fast food review video. I pay really close attention to the market, and whenever anything comes out, I immediately try it. If you're interested in how you can find out about these things when they come out, I suggest going to these websites, brandeating.com, run by a guy in LA, and nrnonline.com. The Nations Restaurant News, nrn.com. So it's nrn.com and brandeating.com. These are my favorite websites for checking out what's going on in the world of branded food or quick service restaurants. It's just really great. Some Twitter users to follow include twitter.com brandeating. Okay. Brand Eating on Twitter and NRN Online on Twitter. Nations Restaurant News Online on Twitter. They're both great. They're great resources for this kind of thing. If you really want to know what's going on with, McDonald's or Arby's. Arby's has new King's Hawaiian sliders that Brand Eating just talked about. It's everybody loves the King's Hawaiian bread. It's very sweet, delicious. So I'm going to head out over to Arby's soon and try the King's Hawaiian stuff. And it's all thanks to Q here from Brand Eating. So if you want to repeat this stuff to everybody like I do, check out these websites. I'll be back soon with some more videos. I don't know exactly what it's going to be on, but I'll let you know on Twitter. Please follow me here on Twitch, on YouTube, like and subscribe, all that stuff. I'll see you next time. Peace out.